evening, everyone. With Independence Day just hours away, I wanted to end the week by talking about something that perfectly captures where American politics seems to be these days. Not inflation, not national debt, not crime, not border security, no. Tonight's starring role belongs to algae. Yes, algae. The green stuff most people scrape off the side of a fish tank somehow became the latest political celebrity in Washington. And honestly, if this were real life, Hollywood would reject the script for being too unbelievable. A few weeks ago, President Trump ordered improvements to the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Immediately, the outrage machines kicked into overdrive. The project costs too much. It's a waste of taxpayer monies. It's another scandal. If you've watched enough cable television over the past decade, you know the routine. Someone says Trump, someone else screams, repeat every 30 seconds until commercial break. But here's a question almost nobody wants to ask. Where was the level of outrage when the reflecting pool underwent a far more expensive reconstruction during the Obama administration? You know, the project that cost more than $30 million. And guess what happened? The algae came back. Because algae, despite the social media may believe, doesn't register to vote. It doesn't watch cable news. It doesn't care who's in the Oval Office. It responds to sunlight, warm temperatures, and shallow water, not campaign slogans. Yet somehow, this ordinary maintenance challenge turned into a national political crisis. Then came one of the week's most memorable television moments. CNN sent a reporter to collect a water sample from the reflecting pool. Now, don't get me wrong, news organizations should ask questions and verify claims. That's journalism, but somewhere I have to wonder if viewers were asking the same question I was. Is this really the biggest story in America today? Because while families worry about paying bills, communities struggle with crimes, and the federal government carries enormous national debt, America's watching someone test algae. You couldn't invent this if you tried. Then things somehow became even stranger. People gathered around the reflecting pool holding signs celebrating the algae and mocking the cleanup efforts. Read that sentence again, slowly. People supported algae. At what point did we decide that in one political side likes something, the other has to cheer for the exact opposite, even when the opposite is pond scum? Think about how bizarre that is. Imagine explaining that to somebody from 1976. Well, you see, we're celebrating America's 250th birthday next year, but first we have to finish arguing about whether green slime should stay in the reflecting pool. They think you were completely lost your mind. And speaking of strange sights, watching some of those demonstrations reminds me of covering the protests outside Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey. Different issue, same energy, the same familiar faces, the same signs, same chants, same television cameras. Sometimes I honestly wonder, does anybody in the crowd ever have to be at work at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning? Maybe they all have the world's most understanding employers, or maybe political outrage has simply become America's new full-time hobby. Look, everyone has the right to protest. That's one of the freedoms Americans celebrates on July 4th. You can criticize any president, you can disagree with any policy, you can protest peacefully. That's part of living in a free country. But somewhere along the lines, disagreement has become reflex. If President Donald Trump announces tomorrow that oxygen was beneficial, somebody would probably organize a rally demanding equal time for carbon dioxide. That's not a political engagement, that's performance art. Now, let's be clear, no president deserves free pass. President Trump doesn't, President Obama didn't, President Biden didn't. Every administration makes mistakes. Every administration deserves scrutiny, but scrutiny should be consistent. If a $30 million renovation under one administration gets shrugged, while a less expensive renovation under another becomes a national obsession, people are going to notice the difference. That's not blind loyalty. That's asking the same measuring stick regardless of whose name appears on the White House stationery. Tomorrow, millions of Americans will celebrate Independence Day. They'll barbecue, watch fireworks, spend time with the family. Honor those who fought for this country, and maybe, just maybe, they'll take a break from all the endless outrage cycles because our country faces serious challenges. And while we're busy arguing about algae, those challenges aren't waiting. So here's my Friday night suggestion: celebrate America, debate honestly, hold every elected official accountable, laugh once in a while, and if you ever find yourself organizing a rally in support of pond scum, it might be time to ask whether politics has become just a little too personal. I'm Haylee Ficuciello. Have a safe and happy 4th of July. God bless our servicemen and women. God bless the United States of America. And remember, the Founding Fathers gave us freedom of speech. I'm just not entirely convinced their envision was used to defend algae. Good night.